Hi, so I love a good YA book. I think YA books make up most of the books that I own and read, but there are so many things that I think still aren't explored very much in YA, and there are some things that I would love to see more. So today I thought I would share 3 things that I really want to see in more YA books. Just kind of personal taste for me, or things that kind of I relate to a lot. And things I would love to see more in books. And then I thought it would be really great if I could kind of almost turn this into a bit of a tag where I can ask some other people what they want to see in their kind of favourite, not genre, YA isn't a genre, but you know what I mean, like they're kind of the books that they read a lot. 3 things that they would love to see more in their favourite kind of books. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Or if you want to, just share yours in the comments below. And I thought it could be a really good way for people to share book recommendations of those things. So if there are books that do have those things in, we can kind of recommend books to each other with the things that we really want to see more. So yeah, I'll get straight into mine. So the first thing is twins. I've just recorded another video about the kind of twins in books and how they a lot of the time tend to fall into the same sort of tropes, like twin tropes, and how I'd love to kind of read more books that have twins in them. I'm kind of going to do a challenge to read more books that have twin characters to see how their representation is. But normal twins I'd love to see in books. Twins that aren't sort of there because their twinness is like part of the plot. This is one thing that's going to be a recurring thing in this, is things that I want to see that aren't particularly like a big important part of the plot. They're just there because they are. And that's one thing with twins, is that a lot of the time they're there because they're complete polar opposites, or they're kind of them being twins is important to the plot in some way. I'd love to see books where characters are twins, and it maybe does explore what it's like for them to have a twin, because it is a very unique relationship. Like, I'm an identical twin, and it is a very unique sibling relationship. And yeah, I'd love to see that explored more in YA, but just have more characters that maybe have a twin, but it's about one of them, or it's about both of them, or whatever. But them being twins isn't the point of the plot. So one really good example of this is the Poet X, where she has a twin, but that's just it. Like, they just are twins, and they have this really close relationship with each other, so it explores that really well. But yeah, them being twins isn't an important part of the plot. Like, it's all about the main character, but it's not about her like being a twin. It's hard to explain, but I hope you get what I mean. So the next one is non-stereotypical geeks or nerds. I have always been a massive nerd. All the way through school, I was always like a massive teacher's pet, and I kind of want to see more books where there's characters like that, but they're not stereotypical. Like, they love to learn, and they are just a massive nerd who loves learning, but they're not sort of, I don't know, this is a really hard one to explain, but you see nerds in books a lot of the time, and they're very kind of, they're completely socially awkward, and they don't know how to have a normal human interaction, and they don't know how to, they get embarrassed talking about any topics that isn't like maths. And you know, they always kind of, a lot of the time, nerds always have this same sort of stereotypical appearance as well. Like, yeah, you know what I mean. I just want to see more characters where they are really nerdy. They're into like their books and their kind of learning and studying, but that's just a part of their personality. It's not their entire personality. One good thing, it's not a book, it's a film, but one good example of this that I watched recently is Booksmart. I watched it a couple of days ago, and oh my god, I fell in love with that film so much. And the characters are nerds. Like, one of them is like the school valedictorian, and they are obsessed with learning, and they've spent their whole school life kind of being like me, teachers' pets. Like, you see them talking to like the vice principal, and all the teachers know them, and they're kind of friends with most of their teachers almost, and they are full-on nerds, but they're just so much fun, and they're not in no way are they like stereotypical nerds. Like, I just love that film so much, and it's one thing I'd love to see is take influence from the characters in Booksmart, make them so much fun and they just want to kind of have a good time, but being nerdy and being kind of into their books and reading and learning is just a small part of their personality. It's not their entire existence. And the final one is proper bisexual or asexual rep. This is definitely becoming more of a thing. Sexuality is becoming bigger in YA and books in general, which is so good. However, I find that a lot of the gay rep in books is still very sort of male-male. You don't see... I can't think of that many books where there's lesbian relationships or kind of like girl-girl relationships in them. And especially can't think of books where bisexuality is represented very well. Please give me recommendations. This is the one especially that I'd love recommendations for. Bisexuality is something that isn't explored very much in books at all, and asexuality is even less. There's two books that I've loved recently. The first one is Summer Bird Blue. I forgot the name of it. Summer Bird Blue by Kemi Dawn Bowman. And that explores asexuality really well. And then the other one is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I mentioned it in my last video as well. I feel like I'm going to be talking about it a lot because it speaks to me so much. And that book is actually all about the main character realising that she's asexual, and I just love it so much. Even though I know I'm kind of on the ace spectrum somewhere, reading this book is actually helping me realise a lot more things. And it's just, Alice Oseman is like asexual, aromantic anyway, and you can tell she puts so much of herself into this book, and I love it so much. But this needs to be done more often. I think more authors, and like real stories that come from like own voices authors as well, so bisexual authors, asexual authors, I'd love to see more books by them that tell kind of their real stories and explore it in more detail. But again, like the twin thing, it's not maybe the only kind of part of the plot. It's not like the only important thing. Obviously Loveless is all about ace, like her coming to terms with the fact that she's ace, which is amazing, but I'd also love to see more books where they are asexual or bisexual and they just happen to be, like, it's not important to the plot, where it's kind of mentioned, or maybe they have like bisexual relationships or whatever and they just do, like, it's not an important part of the plot. So yeah, those are my 3 things. I'd love to see yours. Let me know if you do a video or a blog post on it, because I will definitely read it and share it. Or just comment below with what your 3 things are, and let's try and give each other some book recommendations of the things that we want to see more. So I look forward to seeing yours, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye!